Donald J. Trump, the harbinger of darkness, the scion of malice and evil, the worst thing since God announced the arrival of Satan to the world, and the worst thing in modernity since Addie H. Well, unfortunately, we're going to be getting more of it. Most of you by now should probably know my views on Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. I don't think he is the equivalent of Satan, and I also don't think he's the best thing since sliced bread. Although I probably should add that it's a very, very small minority of people that think Donald Trump is the best thing since sliced bread, and far, far more people think he's akin to Satan or Genghis Khan or what have you. But I want to spend a bit of time in this video pointing out something that is becoming increasingly apparent in the rhetoric directed towards Donald Trump, and as you can see in the title, I think will effectively net him the upcoming re-election. So it seems that ever since Donald Trump's election, people on the left have not been able to get their shit together, not been able to simply calm down and say, well, he's the president for now, we'll just deal with it. And instead, what they've been doing repeatedly, incessantly, repetitiously, is fueling the fire. Throwing in coal, throwing in twigs, they just throwing in debris. They just keep on hammering away on this so-called Trump issue. And to my mind, this is a bad strategy. Now, I'm not on the left, but if I were somebody on the left with leftist ideals and found legitimately Trump to be absolutely repugnant and the worst thing since the announcement of the arrival of the devil, well, I probably would go about it a different way. I would say, okay, how did Trump get elected? He got elected through the general dissatisfaction people have had, particularly the working class, the white working class, with mainstream politics, with mainstream media, with mainstream everything. And because of the momentum that led up to that pivotal moment where he got elected, everything was geared towards this far left, overwhelming liberal view, demonizing certain classes of people, specifically the white working class. Well, maybe we should hold back on that a little bit. Maybe we should not be hammering away on the same issues again and again. Because obviously what happened to anyone with half a brain is that the people who elected Trump felt very alienated. And yet what I see now is a continuation of practices and approaches that were in place prior to his election. So now that Trump officially has his tribe, as it were, you have to bear in mind what tribalism entails. People are tribal not because of the correctness of the tribe's positions or attitudes or customs, or because of the tribe's ethical behavior. Of course, all those sorts of things, and take your pick for what tribe you might want to talk about, of course, all those things will be claimed by the tribe in question, that they're moral, upright, their customs are the best, they're smart, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, the most important salient factor in tribal affiliation is just that, tribal affiliation. So if you're a member of tribe X, it doesn't matter, there might be elements A, B, C, D there. The most important thing is that you're a member of tribe X. And with that said, you stick to tribe X no matter what, meaning you don't deviate from the plan. And even when tribe X is acting like a bunch of buffoons, even when tribe X is wrong, even when tribe X is simply not doing what people expect them to do, you stick to the tribe because that's what tribalism is all about. And what I see the left doing on the internet, in the mainstream political discourse, and just everywhere, is continually building this wedge, escaping mob between themselves and the people who follow and support Trump. And all they're doing is succeeding in widening the gap of the wedge, widening the gap of the mob, and pushing more and more people in the direction of Trump. Now, I think at this stage, it might be safe to say that if you're a never Trumper or an anti-Trumper, you're never going to be moved in that direction. But unlike that aspect of this matter, the people who have not yet decided or feel indifferent or neutral, who are being assailed and assaulted by far left rhetoric and the general insanity of the current years left, they might be driven into his arms. And more importantly, he still has all his constituents. There might be a few people, yes, who said, oh, Trump didn't deliver on his promises, Trump didn't do X, Y, Z, whatever. But at the end of the day, because of the nature of tribalism, the fact that he's their guy, and that's an important phrase there, catchphrase even, Trump is their guy, I do not foresee anything changing on this front. And the left is continually pushing for this and driving people either into his arms or further solidifying the tribal bonds that have already been established since the election. And it really is kind of a good case for the relative stupidity of the left. They seem to be driven purely by ideology at this stage, and I might want to make a separate video about how the left really has lost its marbles at some point in time, highlighting recent events and some events of the past few years. Nevertheless, if all you can do is rant about the already elected president, and you're terrified, as some of these leftists have expressed, of a Trump re-election, why position yourself to create the momentum and a situation which is not certainly, but very likely to lead to his re-election? It's very likely to lead to another Donald Trump presidency. It's very curious, but as I've said previously, it really shows you that the left is not thinking with a solid head on its shoulders, if you were to make the body analogy appropriate here. They're just doing all the things that they did before to create a Trump presidency. Now, as I draw this video to a close, I want to point something out that I also think is a relevant salient factor here. And that is what increasingly appears to be a kind of auto masochism on the part of the left. The left seems to like to inflict what they might view as a kind of emotional pain on themselves. And they also like to complain about things. It's almost as if, I'm not saying it's the case, but it's almost as if they want a second Trump election, because then they can complain about things. They can complain about how bad he is, and they can talk about the horror that he represents and the fact that he's an obstacle to human freedom and human flourishing or what have you. That's probably more like a Sam Harris line right there. But the point I'm trying to make is either the left is completely clueless, doesn't have a fucking idea what they're doing whatsoever, and as a consequence is creating the perfect storm scenario for a Trump re-election, given all the things I've already stated in this video, or they kind of secretly, even without admitting it to themselves, want a second Trump presidency so they can spend all their free time bitching and complaining and worrying about the end of the world that will be ushered in by Satan himself, yes, Donald Trump. And to be honest, I can't figure out which one it is, and it might not even be a binary. It might just be one of those instances where it's a combination of factors, but as I see it right now, they are doing everything in their power, for better or worse, whether it's the outcome they want or not, to assure us a Trump re-election. And for my part, I don't give a shit either way, because to me, Trump is just a dude. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully there'll be more to come. Recently, my sleeping issues have been very, very bad, and in part aggravated by a semi-serious skin condition I've developed. Anyway, I just wanted to inform you that specific set of information in case there's a drop in frequency. It usually has something to do with my sleeping and or additional health concerns. So I will check you out at a later date, and you take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.